Hello everyone, phoenixtremayne here with another Kandi and the Gang review. This is about episode 3, Rowdy Employees and Uptight Managers is the title of the episode. And before we get started, please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe so I can get this channel up to at least 1,000 subscribers. That's my goal. I need like 270 more subscribers to reach that first goal. So I'm going to be giving you lots of entertainment news and videos and reviews. So go on ahead and do me that favor and hit that subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when I come out with new news and information. And we're going to go to Kandi and the Gang. I'm invested in it. I hope it does get a season 2. I heard that the ratings are disappointing. And so hopefully videos like this will turn things around, because I have 2 pages of notes, so I might be here for a minute. So we're going to talk about Torin and Philip continuing their argument, but Torin exits. Now, we didn't need that scene. The way the scene ended in last episode, we didn't need them to give a couple more sentences before they exit. We could have went straight to Kandi's arrival, as Torin tells Kandi that Philip is fake. So now Kandi's like, oh God, here we go again. What's going on now? Philip is telling Don Juan that he doesn't like Torin. And if you saw my last episode, that I felt like, we saw that Philip's boyfriend Philippe is long distance. And I still say I see sparks. They may not happen on camera, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my intuition is telling me that, maybe be a little something off camera. But I'll continue to ship this couple as we go through the rest of the season, and let me know, are you seeing what I'm seeing? It wasn't as much of it in that I saw in the last episode, but things are possible. It's possible. Kandi lets Philip know that he's tripping when he tells her he's not dealing with Torin, and she and Don Juan have to deal with him. So basically, you're the general manager, the GM. You sort of don't have a choice. This is part of your job description. No, Kandi won't let him fire everybody, because it's not just a restaurant; it's a reality show. And if people are causing drama, that's what they're getting paid for. So taking it out of the restaurant business, it's a restaurant business and it's a reality show. So no, he ain't going nowhere. Torin comes to Patrick's place to help him decorate, and Torin expresses he's already done with Safari, and Safari is Patrick's girlfriend, because he talks about her nonstop to the point where it's annoying. They start walking around, doing some measurements, and seeing what he could potentially do with the place. They get to the closet. He's like, this is where I want all the sex toys to be, the whips, the handcuffs, everything. And Torin, in his confessional, is like, look, I don't be doing all of that, but I'll decorate the place. He adds to the job decorating and housewarming, because he wants to have a housewarming party, which I think is the next episode. Brandon scheduling comes into question again, as Shawndreca, who is shown actually working, wants to know who the bartender is going to be, and is Dominique. Brian expresses that she's is always late, and Brandon lets her do whatever she wants to do, because everyone knows that whether they talk about it or not, Brandon and Dominique are dating. And that typically happens. It happened to my brother, who was working at Popeyes, and he was a supervisor, or he was shift manager, something like that. And the girl who would relieve him would always come late, but she was also screwing the district manager. And so he started coming late and saying, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm like, but you're not screwing the district manager. So it became a whole big thing, and it didn't work out well for my brother. But that's kind of reminded me of that situation of somebody who is dating or smashing, a manager, supervisor, whomever, that they get away with things like being late, overtime, even if, it's just on paper they didn't really do the overtime. You get away with certain things. Brian is upset that Dom is already 2 hours late and has to make drinks when he's an alcoholic. Shawndreca and Philip actually have a good professional conversation, which was good to see. When he asks her how things are going and she complains about Dom, he compliments her that no matter what was happening, she just kept going and was doing her job. Compared to episode 1 to now, it shows that Philip's style of management works. That he drew the line with Shawndreca and said, oh, we ain't going to do this back and forth stuff, and sent her home, which technically means she lost money. She came back like, okay, so I'm just going to do my job and not get into anything with him. So it kind of shows that Philip's way works when he shows you that there are consequences to be had if you don't do your job, which you're supposed to do, because it's not a playhouse, it's not for fun, work is work. Then, things happen that you don't want to happen. Firing, getting kicked out, made to go home. And then, your bill collectors don't care about that. They just, money. So, it was nice to see that he even smiled, which shows that even though he can be hard, you do what you're supposed to do, and he relaxes. Philip has an impromptu meeting with Brandon and the interim manager, Tamika. They find Brandon taking a rest. They have shown him sitting and eating while things were not going well at the restaurant. And when Philip asks him how things are going that day, Brandon says smooth, despite the fact that he needed to call a plumber. Dominique was 2 hours late, which meant that they had to sit, and when they sat people, it was an hour late to sit people. So he didn't mention none of that. Brandon complains that Philip wants him to be strict, a strict disciplinarian, but that's not his style because he feels people will not want to be able to come and talk to him, if something happens. And I actually highlighted this because in my business, when I went to school, Todd to be a producer and director and all that kind of stuff, my professor told me, look, you got to disassociate yourself from your actors and your crew. You can't be friends with them. You got to draw a straight line that you're the boss. And that's kind of how Philip is. He's sort of in that same vein, and that's exactly how I was. People were scared to talk to me, which is what I understand from Brandon's point of view. And 2 of my actresses were being sexually harassed. I didn't know it because they were scared to talk to me, and they quit. And I said, why are you quitting? And they were like, well, this guy over here is sexually harassing us, and we would rather leave than have to deal with that. And I said, well, why didn't you just come to me? And it turned out he was sexually harassing the 2 girls and the transsexual that was in the cast. So he had to go, not them. So I do understand how people can be afraid to speak with you. And then I became the opposite. I became like, well, now I'm going to be friends with my cast and crew. And that blew completely up in my face like my professor said it would, because now people were too comfortable with me. They started being late. They started doing things that were unprofessional because we were friends. And so I realized that you have to find that happy medium between being someone that is separate from your workers, but at the same time approachable, but not necessarily friends. So, you keep that professional line between the two, between you guys, and then it goes much, much smoother than people feel like now they can take advantage of you because you're some softy or something. So I understand both Brandon's point of view and Philip's point of view. So I just want to say that you got to find your medium with your people. Philip compliments Shawndreca on her focus. Patrick, Melvin, and Torin meet up and talk about the housewarming. Dominique arrives along with Brandon. And then Torin tries to talk about her and Brandon, but she shuts it down because even though they're filming, they're dating, even that they have gone on a date, because this is their storyline. Because reality ain't real. It just not. They have storylines. So I try to enjoy it not as something that's reality, but just a regular old show. So I don't take things personally the way other people take things personally. When they watch things that happen on reality series, I'm like, occasionally we get something that actually in real life happens that they can address on a reality show. But for the most part, they're doing multiple takes and doing voiceovers and all this stuff. Watch my episode 1 and 2 review where I talked about they were adding Shawndreca's voice in places where it looked like she wasn't even talking. So we also had Shawndreca reveals that June and Patrick have had an altercation in the past. Because Patrick was looking at June, kind of crazy, like he was uncomfortable that he was even there because him and Shawndreca used to date. So now we're moving on to page 2 of my notes. I think I'm getting through this pretty fast. Brandon says he can't sit at the bar. Brandon lets Brian and Rashard know that they can't sit at the bar. Huh? Okay. Brandon goes to Philip to tell him what happened with Brian, where Brian sort of gave him a little lip, saying, hey, you're sitting at the bar, and then why can't I? Basically, that's kind of what happened. Philip advises him not to sweep it under the rug and to be more assertive. Technically, Philip is also Brandon's boss. Since he is the director of operations, Brandon might be a manager, but directors of operations are over managers too. So technically, he can't fire like Don Juan, because Don Juan's up to him. But he can affect Brandon's job, especially with him dating Dominique and being a professional because he's dating Dominique. Philip can fire him if this was like a real restaurant. It was a real restaurant, but I'm talking about real situations. Don Juan grabs Philip, asks him what today's mess is, and he starts talking about what Brandon told him about Brian. So Don Juan pulls together a meeting with Philip, Brandon, and Brian. Philip is aggressive right out the gate, as Brian asks if we have free speech or not. Now, in the real world of being in the business, there's certain protocols that you do, just like when I was a fireman. I can't go over my lieutenant's head and talk to the captain or talk to a chief. No matter how I'm feeling about a situation, there's certain things that have to happen in an order. And also, I can't just talk to my lieutenant crazy. Even an acting lieutenant, I can't talk to them crazy because there's consequences to the way you speak to someone and how you're going to be treated afterwards. But anyway, so, and this is for anyone. Yeah, we're in America, we have free speech, but it doesn't mean we're free from consequences of the speeches we make. Even I've done some things or said some things on social media that, I regret it. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, but you live and you learn. So we're going to be moving on. Philip is aggressive towards Brian, and he ends up telling him basically he has to leave for the day he's suspended. So Brian is mad and he goes outside, and then Don Juan goes to follow him and talk to him, and then this makes Philip feel like he's being undermined because he gave an order to Brian, and here comes Don Juan smoothing it over, and he didn't like that, which caused when him and Don Juan had a conversation, he ends up getting aggressive with Don Juan and ends up going to his car to cool off, and he has a little car confessional. Patrick goes to see his girl Safari at her job. He says that he has a little extra weight because he's happy, and she's going to give him non-surgical lipo. She says that she can decorate, and he doesn't need Torin. She also says she doesn't want Shawndreca at the housewarming, and he caves in on everything, causing a producer to ask if he was whipped. And he pretty much agrees. But it kind of makes you feel like either Safari's insecure, or, if he said that Torin could decorate the house, and they were showing, like, she did the decorating for the office, and it looked cheap. It just looked cheap. So they showed earlier Torin's decorating, which looked expensive. So what do you want? You want your house to look cheap, or you want your house to look expensive? So he should have stuck with Torin, or put it on Melvin. Say, well, Melvin also said he wanted him too, so we got to have a meeting with Melvin. Then Melvin can be the tiebreaker and go on ahead and have Torin do it. But I guess we'll see how that all comes out, because he had Torin come out and he started doing measurements and he started the job. So for him to get fired, like, for no real reason other than she feels that she can do it better, we're coming out the gate meeting Safari not really liking her that much, because he does seem whipped, and it's not a good look. Not a good look. So we got some obligatory old lady gang scenes with Shawndreca coming in to do some water aerobic for the ladies. Dominique is also there. She arrives, and they all have fun. There's nothing explosive or crazy that happens. It was nice to see the ladies just doing something normal and fun, and showing that, Shawndreca and Dominique are also not just at the bar, they're also in Kandi's life too. Outside of not the bar, outside of the restaurant. After they talk about the old lady gang, Kandi is shocked that Brian was suspended. Mama Joyce lets Shawndreca know that Philip must be doing something right, because she's not doing what she was doing before. Torin and Brian meet up to talk. In the confessional, he still says that they're just friends. So the producer says to Torin that Brian said that they used to date. Torin then confirms it. Brian says that Philip is a manager number 10, and 11 will be replacing him soon enough because they've gone through so many managers. But the reason why Philip, the general manager, director of operations, the reason why he is so hard also is because these managers can't whip these employees into shape and get the job done, and he can. He's shown it with Shawndreca, although we saw in a preview for next week, is back to Shawndreca being a screw-up again. And it's mostly because she got snitched on by Patrick. Brian also talks about his sister's suicide and a gallon of vodka that was found near her, and that it only happened 3 months ago. And so, he starts tearing up, and that Torin, Torin lets Brian know that he loves him and that he'd be there for him because he doesn't want anything to happen to him. So that is sort of the other side of the employee side, where Brian has a lot going on his end emotionally and dealing with trying to be sober. And then Shawndreca, Dominique, they already warned Torin and Brian so that Philip was a hard case. So that makes them going in not even giving Philip a chance. So it's just fireworks. But once you hear Brian's side of the situation, you feel bad for him, and getting suspended doesn't feel like the right thing to do once you know fully what Brian is going through. That maybe, a conversation needed to be had, lines need to be drawn, and if it was said in a more respectful manner, it may have been received in in a better way. But as Rowdy showed, the way it went down is the way it was supposed to went down. So, excuse me, need some water. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.
All right.